Today we're talking about our 4K slim bezel interactive touch displays. They're available in 55-inch, 65-inch, and also the 75-inch that we've got here, and it's also available in the larger 86-inch too. In terms of the hardware itself, we've made numerous upgrades to the system over the years. The latest version, which is the H2 model, now features a space grey enclosure and has an OPS PC slot, so that allows you to slot in one of our PCs and then you can have a full Windows system and turn it into a large Windows touchscreen. Just going through a little bit about the actual software system, it is Android based. However, it is a very customized version of Android that we call MeetingPad, so it's built from the ground up to be used as an interactive whiteboard. Just taking you through a little bit about what you're going to see on the overall home screen. Down the bottom on the left, you're going to get an icon which gives you the temperature readout of the screen itself. Just gives you a bit of warning for overheating. If it's placed, for instance, above a heat source, you're going to see that the temperature has gone particularly high. You've got some quick controls. You can switch the volume using this icon, and also switch the brightness using this icon. So I can swipe down and we'll swipe it back up to full brightness. Over on the right hand side, you've got a little bit of customization and further control. So if I tap in here, I have the ability to add my own custom wallpaper. So if I wanted to brand up the screen, I can do that. I can also switch to one of the standard wallpapers. But more importantly, we have this theme feature. So if we tap in here, we have the ability to customize the entire UI. Now, I'm quite fond of this meeting room functionality. I've seen quite a lot of projects of these screens used in hotels. So if we tap back in here, we've now customized the entire UI using that. I'm just going to tap back in here and we'll switch back to the original theme. And we'll tap back out there. Then this next button allows us to switch the input. So you've got that OPS PC slot. You've also got two HDMI ports, VGA, and a couple of standard AV ports. Then we've got our settings menu. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this. This can be done on further technical support. But one feature that is really useful to be aware of is this channel settings feature. So what that allows you to do is you can select the power on channel. So if I tap in here and select OPS, then what that's going to do is mean that when I turn the screen off and turn it back on, every time it's switched on, it's going to default to that Windows system. So if your intention is only to use the Windows system, that's how you would do that. We're just going to tap out of that menu again now. So for starters, let's jump into the whiteboard functionality, because that's effectively, it's a whiteboard. That's going to be the main functionality for the product. So we'll tap in here and we'll just talk about that. I'm just going to grab one of the standard pens, and from here I can write on the board. And it's a really smooth and clean writing experience. You can have multiple people interact at once. And also if you use the side of your hand, it becomes an eraser. So I can erase what I've written now. Then you've got some additional functionality for displaying shapes. So I can draw a square here, more of a diamond, but yes. I can add that shape there. I can change my background. So if I wanted to have a colored background, I can select one here, hit confirm, and now we've got a colored background to write on. And also you've got the ability to step back and step forward through the steps you've done. So if I select undo, I can undo and go back to where I was before. Also at the moment it's set up so that you can have multiple people interact with it. If I tap here, now I'm switching to single user mode. Now what that allows me to do is I can write, we'll write test again. So let's say I'm writing quite a lot of text but I need more space. I can now use two fingers to shrink it down and move it over. And I can place it up there. So that's just going to give me a little bit more freedom on the canvas, though you have got the option to also add extra pages. So I can add a page here, and now we're on the second page, and I can tab between those two pages as well. In terms of the usability of the screen and actually adding some functionality, you've got the QR code. So what that allows me to do is, let's say we've had a meeting and you've taken pages of notes and you want to pass that out to people. There's a couple of ways to provide that. One of the key features of this system is this QR code sharing. If I tap Share All, that is going to take all of the notes and it's going to produce a QR code so that at the end of a meeting or the end of any form of event, everyone can walk past, scan the QR code, and it's going to download a PDF to their phones and tablets. Also, if you tap this little lock, it adds an additional layer of security by adding a 4-digit PIN that needs to be entered on the phone or tablet to actually download that PDF. In terms of sharing the documents as well, another way to do that is via email. This is especially useful for hotels, I've seen, because you can set up an individual email account for instance, each conference room, and then send out the content from that email. Now, what that means is that in a few months' time or one year's time, when that customer is looking back on their notes, they're seeing it come from that meeting room at that hotel. So they're going to have that kind of jog their memory and remember, oh, we're going to have the same meeting again. We should probably hold it at the same venue. That was a good venue. So that's done via the email feature. You would need to set up the email account as we discussed. There are a few additional tools in here. So largely these are geared towards education, but they can be useful too. So you've got a ruler where you can measure distances or just draw straight lines. We can tap in and switch to other features as well. So you can have protractor, compass, calendar, curtain, just allows you to reveal something. So if I wanted to have something that I'm revealing midway through a meeting, I can use the curtain to do that. And if I tap back in, you've got some basic fundamentals like a calculator, timer, and the ability to spotlight and zoom. I'm not going to go into too much detail on them because they are pretty self-explanatory. And then you've also got the ability to insert images and documents and also export the entire document as an image. You can also save to the local memory or to the USBs. There are 2 USB ports on the front of the screen as well. So tapping out from the whiteboard functionality, we're going to use this little quick menu. So this is present wherever we are. So whether we're on HDMI input, the Android system or the Windows system, you've always got this little quick menu and you can move it wherever you need. And you can also customize it. So at the moment, we've got the home button whiteboard, but we've got these 3 custom ones where I can tap in and I can select an additional app, even one that I've installed myself, so that I've got that in the quick menu. We're just going to go home. So from here, you've got a lot of the functionality you might expect from an Android system. You've got File Manager, where you can go in and manage your files. VIP is just a nice little feature that we've got. Just allows you to create a quick little welcome screen without having to go into PowerPoint and upload a file. I can just tap and say, I want this background. Great. Put the text in there. And then when I type in, I can put in welcome. So I'm just going to put welcome, and you might welcome a specific customer, but I'm just going to put a standard welcome on here. And then we'll tap out from here. You can see I've kind of customized it in with the text there, but the general concept still stands. We'll back up from here. And that's one basic feature. If we jump out from here, then we've also got multi-screen sharing. So what that's going to allow you to do is share from your phone or mobile device directly to the screen. So I'll just show you a quick example of that. If I tap in here, I have a Google Pixel here, so it's an Android-based device. If I open up the eShare app that I've previously downloaded, which can also be downloaded by scanning the QR code, I can see the screen. I'm going to tap into that. Share screen, start now. And instantly, I'm sharing my phone. Now, it can do that for multiple devices at the same time, so it'll just split the screen across so you can have multiple devices sharing, and it can also mirror back to the phone itself. I'm just going to close off that eShare and stop sharing, and we'll go back to there. Now, that will work for both Mac, Windows, Android devices, and iPhones as well as, of course, the iPads and relevant tablets too. You've got browser functionality, so I can jump in here and I can go straight to Google. So for instance, if I go to Sky News, now one of the benefits of utilizing infrared touch is I don't have to use the pen. I can just interact with any item that I want. I can, for instance, use my finger. So we'll go to Sky News here, tap in, and then no matter what input I'm on, I'm always got the ability to annotate. So if I go in here and let's say we're on a website that we wanted to customize, I tap this little cog that's always in the corner, hit the annotate button, it's going to allow me to write over the top of it. So I can, for instance, select politics and say we're going to talk about that, science and tech, we'll join them up. We can customize that from here, and then at the bottom I get a menu where I can then save, and again I've got that option for QR code sharing for these notes too. We'll just exit out of the annotation mode. and that's going to allow me to go back home. So that's our browser, and then if we tap into more apps, because it's an Android system, you can install third-party apps. We've installed Zoom, so you could simply plug in a USB camera and then you could do video conferencing with the screen as well. Another really useful feature we'll talk about, and that's largely geared towards the accessories that we provide. Now, there are two standard pens that are included in the box. They are just simple pens. They don't have any buttons. They're not smart in any way. We also have this presenter pen, which you can extend out to present. But then finally, we have my favorite, which is our new smart pen. So if I tap into this presenter option, we'll just get the pen connected. So we just turn it on and we can see it's connected. Now this is really cool. So from here, I can now hold this button on the pen and I have got a wireless cursor which I can point. I can go in and select the whiteboard. I can use it to access my quick menu. We'll go home. And I can also switch modes. So at the top, I'm now on digital laser, so I can use it as a laser pointer. It's also a magnifier, so I can focus on specific content. Spotlight, again, focusing on specific content. And then finally, we've got marker. Now, I will say writing from a distance is going to take a bit of training, but you can easily, for instance, cross something out or circle it using the marker. And of course, we're back to the mouse. So that's quite a cool functionality that we've got on there. It's also got some arrow buttons, so you'll be able to switch between pages too. Just to talk briefly about utilizing the other inputs. If we go down into the input section and switch over to the OPS, we'll give that a second to switch in. Just tap into the preview to switch modes. We're in a Windows system, full Windows system, and we can offer many different specs for that as well. And also I can annotate over the top of that. So if I tap in here, I can annotate over the top of the Windows system as well, like I would with the Android system. And we'll just return back to the home page. Thanks for watching. For more information, get in touch today.